So, I guess 4 days in now, how's that quarterback competition looking?
Really good. Been really pleased with both. The preparation through the summer is obvious. I think they're both taking turns and even reps, but we've been accurate with the ball, know where to go with the ball, managing the run game, getting us in the right plays and protections. I've been pleased so far to this point on day 4.
Obviously, the competitors are different. It's 2 different guys than last year. But is your process different because the offseason's been so much different than last year?
We've had a much better year that way. We were able to kind of start quarterback school in the spring and really dive into some things that we didn't get to do last year. We had a full spring practice, which was great. I think we're so much further along because of that. That led us into a good summer that allowed, especially Brendan and JT to have a lot of work and a lot of good base knowledge of what we want to do. So I think they've continued to grow through the summer, and I like where we're at on day 4. We got a long way to go, but so far so good.
How do you go about grading that competition day in and day out, and how will you continue to grade it until you make that decision?
Yeah, it's a daily 7-on-7 and team grade on every play. So they've taken even reps all the way through. They get graded on every play, and then we have statistics on the throws and the grades on the run plays too. So it takes some time because we really want to look at it fairly, and make sure we get them the same situations. So they're a little different styles. So when you ask one to do something that maybe the other one's a little bit better at, you also have to kind of flip that and make sure both of them are getting equal opportunity on a lot of different style and a different system of plays. We don't just put one in and throw deep balls all day and then the other one hands off. It's got to be equal reps. So that takes some time to organize, but I like so far through day 4, they've had a lot of different things that they've had to do that we've been able to grade them on.
How are you rotating the first team reps? Is it like alternating days, or during practice are they switching?
Yeah, every period really. So and then some periods that we have a situational period, we'll play rock, paper, scissors to see who goes first. So it's changing every period.
You obviously, Sam was here last year, and you probably like to have him here in some ways, but is it also maybe a good thing that he has moved on to Oregon State to where you guys can start fresh with this position, focus on 2 rather than 3?
You never want to lose good players. And he did some great things for us. I also felt, when you have a 3-man battle, it's hard on everybody because you're in thirds rather than halves. So I don't wish that he was never not here. I don't want to say that about it, but to answer your question, it's probably easier to organize reps for 2 and even those reps out than it would be for 3. So that's, if you understand what I'm saying, but not that we don't wish he was back.
Brendan is able to make plays with his legs, so he gets that dual threat label on him. Where's he at in terms of just his passing ability?
I think you've seen improved accuracy to this point. I think, I tell him this too, I would say this right to his face, there's some balls he's got to make that are easier throws that we've missed at times. But JT is probably labeled more as a pro style guy, and he can run too. So I don't want to pin those guys into those labels too much. Brendan, they say, oh, he's a dual threat guy, he runs around, that means he can't throw. Well, he throws great, and JT's a pro style guy. He throws better, he can't run. That's not true either. So I think they're a little different style, but they both, they've got strengths and weaknesses, but they can manage all of what we're doing. Both of them can do that. We're not going to have a different offense when one guy goes in than when the other guy goes in.
Obviously, the quarterback position is more of a leadership type position. Where would you say they are in terms of their leadership abilities?
I think they have different styles. I think they try to set the example. They have their own personalities. So you probably hear a little bit more out of JT than you would Brendan, but Brendan sets the example in the weight room and in meetings, and that's just his personality. He's come out of his shell a little bit more, I think. He's been more vocal, but you know, I don't want the guys to be something that they're not. I don't want them to fake it. So I want them to be genuine. And if they're not you know, real raw guys, then they don't need to be. But they both need to set the example, and then they need to be who they are.
You got a couple of freshmen in there as well. How are those guys doing?
They're coming along. You know, they've got a lot to learn. I think they're both trying to figure out the speed of the game and how much it's different than high school. You know, having them for the spring, I think, has really helped them. I think that they're much further along than in the olden days when you just came in August and you had to go to school and your first time away from home, and it was it was overwhelming. And now I think with coming early and kind of getting their feet wet in spring ball, I think they're a lot further along. But you know, I've been pleased they study and they're working at it. And we have a great room. We only have 4, and they get a lot of work and they get a lot of good conversation in our meetings. And I think it's a really solid group right now.
Those two guys, Drew and Jordan, have been dual threat type of guys. How valuable are they going to be as scout team quarterbacks?
Yeah, I think that's important because you're going to play, you know, some offenses. Colorado will play some offenses that will have a running quarterback, and they'll give good looks for that. You know, I don't think we have necessarily an option team on our schedule, but you know, I think that being able to move around is going to help our defense on scout team for sure.
You mentioned only having 3 on scholarship. Obviously, different circumstances coming in here. What's the ideal number there? Is it 4 or 5 scholarship quarterbacks you want to get to?
Yeah, I don't know if there's a magic number. Probably somewhere 4 to 6. You know, kind of depending on what age they are at school. You know, eligibility wise, I think that could change you a little bit. But 4 has been a good number. It's been the smallest group we've had, and you know, I think they all get really good work. Now, they don't all take team reps in practice, but I think they all get a lot of reps in individual. They get to throw a lot of routes on air. You know, they just get a lot of work. So I think 4's been good. Probably ideally it might be 5. You know, and I think that's probably the magic number. But like I said, it kind of depends on how they're staggered year-wise.
Anything else from Coach? All right, thanks, Coach.
Okay.